Okay, hi guys. Good evening. So welcome to Networkings, and today is a day one session. It's a demo session for CCNA. So Kevin, over to you. You'll just start with the introduction, and you can give an overview about CCNA.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. So hi guys. Like as Gaurav said, today is today is our a basic demo session on CCNA. So I'll give you some ideas on how this course can help you, what all contents we'll be covering over here, etc. So just before starting, a brief introduction from my side. So myself, Kevin, I've been working in this Cisco CCNA trainer profile for some time. I do have hands-on experience, and when it comes to certification, I'm on right now the CCNP level. Basically, I have certifications in DevNet track, and when it comes to CCNA, I'm CCNA certified and also experience in enterprise. And when it comes to Cisco, we actually have like a lot of different kinds of tracks you can actually take. Most people are only know the basic side of CCNA, CCNP, CCIE. So these things have changed. We will be going into that. So before that, I hope since we have like very few members at the moment, can you guys just give a brief introduction about yourself? Any one of you can start, like a quick introduction, like your name, what you're working on, what you're looking in from CCNA, that's it. So who'd like to go first? Or should I just call someone up? Okay. Since we have like just a small amount of time, I'll just call someone up. I can see Naveen Kumar. Would you like to? Okay, I think you're on mute. If you'd like to come off mute, that would be great.
Guys, anybody can speak.
Yeah, anyone. Like, it doesn't have to be Naveen. If somebody else want to give an intro, that's also fine. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, hi, Sharad.
Yes, sir. My name is Sharad. I'm currently working in CCNA customer service in Kerala. So
Okay.
I want to learn more about the networking, routing, switching, and network security also. So I think I would like to improve my networking knowledge. So that's why I'm joined your class. Yeah.
Thank you, Sharad. That's enough. Like just a brief introduction. So if someone else would like to go next, that would be great. Thank you, Sharad. That was good.
Hey Kevin, Raju this side. My name is Raju Vishwas. Hi Kevin, how are you?
Hi Raju, great. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well as well.
Actually, Kevin, I'm working in a pharmaceutical company as a IT manager here in Delhi NCR region, and
Okay.
my interest in for a very first day. I was working in a telecom engineer for last 4-5 years ago. So after that, I have changed my line. So my interest always in network field. So I was thinking that if I go to clear CCNA Cisco certification, then I pursue my career forward in network field. So that
Definitely does. Yes. This is CCNA will be like the starting stage for all the networking things. So when it comes to telecom, we'll be looking onto a specific kind of track like SD-WANs and those kind of stuff. So we'll be discussing the most of these concepts in our sessions. I believe we'll be starting it on Monday mostly. Today, I'll be just giving a basic idea. But yes, what you're looking for, you're definitely going to get out from this session.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Kevin. That's all about
Sure,
it.
Raj. Okay, thank you, Raj.
Thank you.
So, who's next? Let's make it a bit quick, guys.
Very good evening, sir.
Yeah, hi, Mohammed. Sadakat Hussain. So, what do you like me to
So
call
it's
you?
yes, sir, it's MD Sadakat Hussain here,
Okay. Hi.
working as a IT network engineer in KFMB Kuwait.
Great.
Actually, before also Kevin Raj told you to like he was working as a telecom engineer, but now he want to proceed as a network as much as he can gain. Actually, the same I was also working as a telecom engineer or I was like ISP engineer also as well.
So,
So like
basically, in the knock room, right?
yeah. But
Understood. Yeah.
right now, I got a job like as a IT network engineer, but I don't have much knowledge about that, like how to gain much. So that's why I taken this course to gain the much knowledge about the networking, or as well as like if you will gain more, then you will get more benefit about the network. So that's why I joined the CCNA. May it will help me or our all colleagues also. That's it.
Definitely, it's good. Definitely that I can assure you. Like, since you're coming from telecom side, it will be a bit more easier for you to understand the concepts more than the programming side. But again, once you understand the
Yes, sir, but
concepts, it's
right now, like we are working as a on system only, like we are helping the organization for the RDS like system and the networks problem also we are solving little bit, but
okay. Great.
not
So,
more
like,
than.
yeah. So in that case, it will be much easier for you to understand almost like 50 to 60% of what we are going to discuss. And
Yeah,
the
sure.
rest, I assure you, I'll be able to help you out. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, great. So who's next?
Hi, Kevin. This is Naveen here.
Hi, Naveen.
Good evening. Just driving my bike. I'm on the way to house. I'm just listening from the phone. Sorry for disturbance.
No problem.
Just
That's fine.
so I'm working currently in a consultancy company as an IT admin, where
Okay.
now a lot of opportunities are being in the organization as a network part, where firewall switches, routers, all these things. But I'm getting difficult to understand what they are working on this. So I come to know that the CCNA is the right path to have the first line of this. So in that case, I just had a networking joined to grow my career.
Yeah, definitely, Kevin. So as I just mentioned before itself, I'll be explaining all the different tracks that you can follow in CCNA networking side. So don't worry about that. I'll make sure to help you out. Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank
So,
you.
yep. Okay, then. Who's next?
Hi, Kevin. Sorry. This
Hi,
is
Nida.
Neeta. Uh, I'm Neeta, and I have pursued computer science in engineering. This
Okay.
is the first step I'm going to take so that I can start my career. So, wanted to start my career in this networking. So, I have enrolled in the CCNA. Before that, with the help of someone, I have done some of the testing, everything, some of the device accessing, everything. I know a little bit about it, but I don't have much knowledge about it. So you consider me as a beginner that how as a, so that I can continue my career in this.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Like, anyway, when I'm taking the session, I'll always prefer to take the session in such a way that the beginner will be able to understand, because we'll be having people from multiple levels, right? So no worries on that. And even in between sessions, if you guys are having any kind of doubt, please feel free to ask. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay then. Okay, so who's next? I think we are almost discussed about half of the students.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi there.
Yeah,
Who is speaking? Give me a second. Kaviraj, right?
hello.
Hi, Kaviraj.
Sir, maybe audible? Yes, yes. My name is Kaviraj, sir. I am from Tamil Nadu in Salem. I am
Okay.
now working on Kaveri Hospital IT support engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, next I grow my some knowledges on the next part of my jobs. So I joined this course right now.
That's great.
Yeah, yes.
So
I
I can.
already. Yeah, yes. Actually, I already in 6 years in field, but some technical words are actually we can understand it's not. So
That-
I joined this.
That's great. It's never late, 6 years and all is just beginning of your career. Do not worry about that. So, like, if you are studying now, then for the next 10, 20 years, you have the option, you'll have the idea on what exactly you have to work. So this is actually great, Kaviraj. So you already are working as in the networking side, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so that's not much of an issue. Like you'll be getting the basics and all. I mean, you already know the basics, so we'll be working on what exactly the technical side of it is, and it will be much easier to once you understand like all the concepts when you're working, and some kind of issue troubleshooting something comes up, you'll just click like that. You get okay.
Yeah.
This could be
Yep.
the issue.
Yeah, okay.
So I think most of our students here are from like already experienced side. So thank you, Kaviraj.
Thank you.
So who's next?
Hi, sir. I'm Vishnu from
Hi,
Kerala.
Vishnu. Okay, hi,
I'm,
Vishnu.
I'm currently working as a network engineer
Okay,
in the company Railway ICT. I want to improve my skill and career so that I learn to hear.
Okay, Vishnu, that's great. That's great. So again, assure you like we'll be able to cover all the concepts of CCNA over
Yes,
here.
yes.
And if you want to even go for certifications, we'll make sure to discuss all those concepts as well. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, Vishnu.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Who's next?
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, my name is Bhavani Shankar, sir,
Oh, okay. Hi, Bhavani Shankar.
from Andhra Pradesh.
Okay, great.
I did my graduation in 2021, sir, ECE.
Okay, easy background.
Yes,
That's
sir.
pretty much
I have
towards
the
networking.
basics and a little bit intermediate level of networking side, sir.
Okay, that's
Not
great.
not much deeper in the networking field. So I want to
No.
join my career in the network field, sir. That's why I joined this program.
No worries, we'll cover all the required technicals in this session. Okay, we have
I
the
am
time.
fresher, sir. I'm fresh.
Okay, no worries. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be going through the session on a like basic level. We'll start from there and go to the top. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure,
Okay.
definitely.
So, and who's next? Thank you, Bhavani.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Kevin. This is Pawan.
Hi, Pawan.
Presently, I'm working in a pharmaceutical company, Dr. Reddy's, as a data analyst. So
Great.
this is a non-technical job. So I'm trying to get into a
Technical
job.
side.
Yes. I know about little beginning things of networking. So I have to learn all the things about this networking. That's why I'm joining.
Definitely, Pawan. Okay, this is okay. I can see a message. This is a great place to start, actually. No worries. I think we are getting a message. Is the session has been started? Hi, Shay. Yes. Yeah, the session is being started. So if anybody else has to introduce yourself, please go ahead. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Go ahead.
Sir, my name is Gaurav. I'm pursuing DC right now. This is my first year.
Okay.
And I'm working in Gurgaon as a system administrator.
Okay, so already in the field.
Yeah, and I have intermediate knowledge of networking and Windows Server and Linux also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gaurav.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, Rohit.
Yeah, my name is Rohit and I'm from Hyderabad. So I'm currently working as a desktop support engineer and I have always been interested in networking. So I want to continue my career in this.
Okay, sure, Rohit. Definitely, like we can help you start off with all the basic concepts of CCNA and everything, and we'll go on from there.
All right, sir.
Okay, everyone. So I think we've already spent almost like quarter of our time in introductions. So what we can do is in between session, if somebody has a doubt, you can come in, and then during that time we can give a small intro. Because if not, we just have 1 hour for this live demo session, and I think it would be better if we go ahead and start now. Hope that's fine.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Sure, Nita.
Sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt. Actually, I'm in USA, so I wanted to clear this CCNA certification, like 200, 301 exam. So
Okay.
will it be helpful, like anything like mock test, anything will be there in this, or this whatever classes you take will help me to clear this exam, or should I have to go to next level or some extra information about it, sir?
So yeah, I got your question. So what I can tell you right now is we'll be covering like all the content that is required for the exam. That I can assure you from my side. But when it comes to the exam, what you need is you need practice, because the exam time is close to like 60 to 80 minutes. It changes in between. And the thing is, you have like a few number of questions which will you'll be only having close to 1 or 1.5 minutes to complete one particular question. So that in that particular situation, more than knowledge, you need practice. Okay, when it comes to Cisco exams. So if you're going for CCNA exams, right now they have changed the content. Now it's CCNA 2.0, which will be the content that I'll be taking in the coming week. So I will suggest a few mock sessions. Okay. I will provide you some links where you can do some mock tests and everything. And I'll also, when I'm discussing a particular topic, I'll also mention some specific area that you need to make note of. Because I've actually seen a couple of exams and their exam dumps, and also there are a few questions that keeps on repeating. They are never going to take it out.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
That would be great, sir.
Okay, and I'll definitely be explaining the different kinds of questions, and also try to provide you with a few dumps as well. Okay. The thing is, Cisco keeps on changing these dumps almost every month. So if we have to keep up, we have to make sure that we are trying to like answer all the questions that we're getting.
Okay.
So I will try to provide something from my side, but at the same time, make sure to search for some of these questions. You'll be able to find a lot of websites out there giving mocks. Okay. So try to see as many questions as you can.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Sir. Thank
And
you,
the content part, don't worry. I'll make sure to cover everything over here.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. If you provide some link so that I can practice on it, that would be
sure.
great.
I'll be doing that in the session.
Okay, sir.
Not today. I haven't got anything right now in my hand, but probably when we start our session next week, I'll provide it over there. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. So yes, that's close to 20 minutes. So yeah, I'll share my screen now, and we can slowly start with our session. So first, what I'll be doing is I'll just give you a basic idea of what kind of track you can follow in CCNA or in the Cisco networking side. Just let me know if you are able to see my screen. Let's hope you guys are able to see my screen. Okay. Okay, great. So as you know, today's session will be starting with implementing and administration of Cisco solutions. That's basically the name that's provided to CCNA, the CCNA course. And you also have a specific exam for this CCNA. That is, 1 second, 200-301. That is the exam code. The reason I'm saying that particular code is because for Cisco, there are like a lot of exams with a lot of code numbers. So this has to be in your mind, because if you get the voucher or something for another exam, what happens is that you'll be getting the completely different questions. So 200-301 is the exam code for CCNA. So let me just show you the different tracks which are present inside the CCNA itself. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Some issue came up with my system. I'll just share my screen once again. Just give me 2 minutes. I kind of lost my slides in between. Okay, yes, we are back. So, yes. So, what's happening anyway? So yeah, these are the content that these are the different courses that is available with Cisco. Okay, so in CCNA level, we actually have 2 tracks. The first one is you either have the option to go for the normal CCNA exam. That is the content that will be, that is the course that we are taking right now. That is Cisco Certified Network Associate. The plus point of this particular exam is that once you write this exam, you have like 5 different tracks that you can pursue. Whichever area you like, you can go directly towards that. And the other one is DevNet. That is like automation. Automation of networking devices, which is currently established, but at the same time in a bit in development space, because you can clearly see that the latest, that is CCIE, it is kind of like the expert level, which is not yet implemented yet. So at the moment, my suggestion for beginners is always go for CCNA course. So once you finish that CCNA level, you'll be having associate level access or associate level ideas on how we have different networking protocols and all those kinds of stuff. Once you finish that, once you finish associate level, then you have the specialist level. So you get the specialist level when you either write a core exam for any one of these different departments. So you have enterprise, you have security, service provider, collaboration, data center. So you have the option to choose any one of them depending upon your area of interest. Either if in case you're working inside a data center, go for data center. Okay. So if you're working for an ISP, go for service provider. If you're interested in cyber security, you have the option to go for CCNP security and then move into cyber ops and all. So all of these are different levels or different different departments which you can choose. So yes, so basically these are the different ones you can choose, and all of these different levels will have different types of exam. So as I mentioned, for CCNA you have the associate level exam, which will be a written exam including close to 60 to 70 MCQ questions. Okay. And in the specialist level, again, you'll be having a core exam, which you can choose based on whichever track you want to move into. If you're going for enterprise, you can write NCore exam. If you're going for security, you can write S-core exam. Or if you're going for service provider, it's SP core, collaboration, CL core, and data center, DC core. Okay. And once you complete that, you have the specialist level badge, certificate, and everything you'll be getting. And after that, you can go for a concentration exam. So each different one of this, how to say, each different one of these tracks have again different levels. So all of them, you'll be able to write multiple concentration exams, all of them which will be adding on to your badges and your levels. So for example, let me show you. Yes. Okay, just put it over there. This case, yeah, you're able to see my screen, right? Yeah, if you go for the Cisco training and certifications in their site itself, you'll be able to see. Let me see. Go. So yeah, these are the different tracks that you have the option to follow. Like enterprise, you have multiple enterprise exams. This is because you have, how to say, multiple concentration exam for enterprise. So first you have to write encode, and then you have multiple exams so that you will be CCNP. Okay, CCNP means one level above the specialist, that is Cisco Certified Network Professional. Basically, almost everyone at the top of any company in the networking side will be having a CCNP. People with CCIE, that is the next level, is very rare. The number of people with this particular certification is very rare because for that particular exam, unlike all its predecessing exams, like all of these different levels will be having a written exam for, let's say, MCQ questions. But when it comes to CCIE, what happens is that will be a proctored exam. That means you'll have to go and sit in a particular lab that is mentioned. There will be a proctor from Cisco side, and that will be an 8-hour exam. Unlike all the others, which is like 2-hour exams, this will be an 8-hour continuous exam where you have to sit in a particular lab and implement a complete solution. They'll be mentioning a problem, and then you have to complete that entire problem in your system using different network devices. So this is basically the complete, let's say, course idea on how it goes. Like a CCNA from associate, specialist, professional, and expert. These are the different levels that we have for Cisco's networking courses. Okay. Cisco is trying to add more and more courses over here because like CyberOps, DevNet, as you can see over here. So this will be added in the future, but at the moment, my suggestion would be go for CCNA. And if you're working in a normal networking profile, go for enterprise. Okay, that actually helps you understand a little bit more into the networking part. But at the same time, if you are into other different areas, you can use that as go for the different levels. I can see some people are saying my voice isn't clear. I'd like to confirm that. If it's not, if nobody is able to hear, then that means.
Sir, I think you're fluctuating.
Sorry?
I think your connection is fluctuating, sir. In between your videos is working.
Is it? Okay.
No, Kevin, it's my side. It's totally fine.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, Kevin.
Okay, in that case, the people who are having issues, please try their network speed or audio device. Okay. If somebody is getting, that means from my side, it should be okay. Okay, so yes, so that's a basic idea on, let's say, the courses. So yeah, let's start with our CCNA session. So today we'll be discussing, as I mentioned, the basics of it. So yeah, let's start. So these are the different modules that we'll be covering in our entire session for CCNA. So yes, the first one is network fundamentals, which we will start with today, and then we have network access, things about IP connectivity, IP services, basics of security fundamentals, and a little bit about automation and programmability. So when it comes to automation and programmability, it's a little bit including Python. So if you are not familiar with Python, no worries. We will start with the basic part. And finally, we'll be having lots of practices, hands-on practices on labs, and lab access will be provided from our company side on EvenG system. So you'll be you'll be having hands-on practices as well. So yes, let's start with the first one, that is our network fundamentals. Just give me a second. Okay, so yes, our first topic. So in network fundamentals, the first one is network components. What exactly is a network component? That's what we have to discuss first. So a network component, it's basically any.
Kevin, I think you are sharing a different screen, so we are not able to see. We are able to see only where you mentioned CCNA, CCNP, and CCIE tracks now.
Is it? Okay, sorry, 1 second. Let me just disconnect and try to connect again. Yes, sir. How about now?
No, it's visible, sir.
Oh, it's just okay. Thank you for telling me that. Okay, so yes, our first topic is network components. So what exactly are these different types of network components? So basically, any device that we use in a network can be considered as a network component. So there are like multiple types of network components that we use. Let's say there are endpoints, there are access points, which we'll discuss later in detail. But it basically means that for a client means a user like us. Okay, so if a client want to access a particular network, or if the client want to access even the internet, it can be considered as a network. So if the client want to access that internet, whatever devices or whatever components that comes in between that client and that internet can be considered as a network component. So this can, for easy examples, let's just say in this case, so we are communicating with each other using a network, right? So in this case, my laptop, that's a network component. And at the same time, the modem or the Wi-Fi modem or whichever modem that you use, that's a network component. And the modem should be connected to some ISP's different devices. So all those different devices will be considered as a network component. Some of the examples of these network components are like routers, switches, servers, endpoint devices like mobile phones, laptops, etc. So all this can be considered as a network component. Okay. And we'll be discussing about different network components in the upcoming slides. So I'm slightly moving towards that. So the first one that we'll be discussing about, let's see, that's routers. So what exactly is a router? Does anyone want to try and give it an answer for that? Because
Connecting electrical signal
device that connects two different networks.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A device that connects two different networks.
Yes.
Converting
Converting
electrical signal into radio frequency.
Sorry, I don't think that's a router. I think that's a different kind of one, not the one that we're using. When it comes to networking, that's not it. I think you mentioned electric to radio, right?
Yeah, radio frequency, sir.
I don't believe, I think that's a transmitter, is it? Not sure. Anyway, the router is, let's say, it's basically a networking device that forwards data packets between computers and network. So, in a simple example, if you want to send it, I can hear someone talking. Okay, could you guys please make sure all of you are on mute? Thank you. Okay. So yes, in case of any doubts, please come off mute. I'm just saying that to avoid in between noise. Okay. So as I mentioned, router is basically a networking device that forwards data packets from computer to the network. Okay. So for a simple example, let's say, yeah. So we have a client. And then let's say we have the network over here. Let's consider this as a network, the internet. Not sure what's happening. Okay, the writing is not coming clearly. Anyway, so if the client, that is our, let's say our laptop, wants to connect to the internet, we need something in between. Like we cannot directly connect our computer to the internet because it won't be able to understand decode or anything. So that particular area, the router comes in. So router. So the client will be connected to the router, and the router will be connected to the internet. Okay. So when our computer want to try to connect to the internet, what happens is it will send some kind of a request. So that request and all will be converted to packets, and that packets will be moved from our client to the router and from the router to the internet. So imagine if you are trying to Google something, let's say Cisco. So if you are trying to Google this, each and every word will be, each and every alphabet will be inside one packet. Okay. And these packets will be sent to the router and from the router to the internet. And there it searches all these things and it will send that data back from the internet to the client. Okay. So all this data will be converted to packets and data will be sent between client and internet using router. So that is basically the purpose of router. The basic purpose of router, because router actually will be able to do a lot of things. This is just what we intend router to do, but at the same time, router has a lot of security features. It can like straight away control different number of devices and all those kinds of stuff, which we will be discussing right now. So the major function of router is basically that. It forwards data packets between computers and networks. So like, let's say if one or more packet, there can be multiple networks, and this router will be able to manage multiple networks and connect them in between. Okay, and by sending data packets from one particular device to another device, and it helps us to retrieve data from one particular device back to our device. All these things will be managed using IP addresses and all. But the main thing that you have to get is that router will act as the, let's basically say, it will act as a messenger in between, or it is what connects all these different kinds of networks. And some of the major functions, as you can see, it's mentioned over here, like packet forwarding, routing decisions, network interconnection, This just means like sending packets. And routing decision just means like if you want to send a particular data from one location to another location, this router will decide which path to take to send this data. So if two computers are connected in multiple ways, like let's see, for example. So we have a computer A and a computer B. And we have one router here and two routers here. So this will be router R1, R2, and R3. Okay, wait. This will be R1, R2, R3. This is R4, and this is R5. Don't need R5. So we have these many routers, and the connection goes like this. R1. So if A want to send some data to B, and the packets are being sent from here to R1. So when it reaches R1, R1 will decide whether to go to R2 or R4. So based on the lowest. Okay, I think in device video is not starting. Okay, for Sheikh, I can tell you that the session is being recorded, and I think you can contact our networking teams to get it. And from Sahani, the video is not starting. The video is being shared right now. So please check your internet. Okay. So yes, as we mentioned, so first the data packets will be going to R1, and R1 will be mentioning whether to go to R4 and B or R2, R3 and B. Since R4 is the lowest jump, because we only have one router in between, right? So R1 will decide to go to R4 and from there to B. So the reason for this being is that R1 will be having a table which has the list of all the routers that are connected to it and the next hop. Like all the different hops from that particular router will be stored inside this R1. So from A to B, the lowest traveling distance R1 already knows. That's why R1 decides to send the data to R4. And from R4, it will be sent to system B by checking its IP address. Okay, so this particular method is known as, this particular method is known as routing decision. So that also is being done inside the router. And then finally, network interconnection. So that's what we discussed earlier. The router will be able to connect multiple networks together. Okay, so all it has to do is that the switches or the routers which are which basically employs that particular network needs to be connected to this router. Once that's done, then basically, yeah, you got the whole thing connected. And the only thing you have to make sure is that you have to set up the right VLAN. And don't worry, VLAN is another concept that we'll be discussing later. Okay, so this is just the basic functions of router that you have to understand. I hope I'm clear up to here. Some of the examples of routers you might have seen are broadband routers, wireless routers like Wi-Fi modems and all at your place. So these are a few examples of these routers. Okay, so I'll be moving forward. In case of any doubts, please come off mute because chat is not something I'm able to see. How router 1 has all the information of all routers in its routing table. Okay, that's a good question. So basically, all the routers will be collecting data. Once it's connected to a network, all the routers will use something called, it will be having something called an ART. Okay, so in this ART, it will have all the, how about now, Prashant? Is it clear now? Can you please check? I think the mic is fine. Hope I'm clear now. My voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So ARP is something called an address resolution protocol. So by using this, all the different IP addresses and all the different network MAC address, all this will be collected by each and every router. So if you, in the earlier example, I just mentioned R1, that must be the confusion. So the thing is, R1 will be having the data on all the other routers and systems. Similarly, R4 will be having the data of all the systems and routers connected inside that network. So basically, all the routers will be having this data. Okay, I hope that was clear. This is an automatic process. We don't have to do much on that. Once you connect this router onto that network and establish its connection to all the different routers or that particular network, this data will be stored inside it. We have the option to statically store the data, but at the same time, dynamically also, it will be able to collect this data. So no worries. Clear? Okay, going on. So, and these are some of the other functions of routers, these are some of the other functions the router is able to do. Some of the examples we already mentioned, like packet forwarding, routing, interconnection of networks, etc. And some of the other ones are network address translation. So that basically means when we have that IP address of a particular set, okay, getting a few queries. Deepak, you might have to check your network, internet, because I got confirmation that the screen is currently, visible over here in the sharing part. So you might have to check your internet. And yes, okay, since you have the doubt on internet, explain how internet and how it works. So yes, in that case, sure. Internet is basically a collection of networks. Okay. So what happens here is that we have a lot of devices, almost all the public devices. It can be routers, all these different servers which stores this data. We are opening that all the devices to a public network. So that's basically internet. Okay. Instead of devices having IP address, what we do is we'll be providing them with readable names. So these kinds of readable names are known as your website link. Okay. So by using this website link, you'll be able to basically gain access to someone else's computer. That's basically what the internet is. In simple terms, let me just show you. If you have this router, or let's say a server. So a server is basically a computer. Okay. Just putting it out there. So if you're saying a server, this is basically a computer. And you're the client. And inside the server, a lot of information is stored. Okay, so for example, Google is basically a set of information, right? So all that information is stored inside this particular server. Okay. So if you want to access Google, if your system want to access Google, it has to connect to this particular server. And for that particular reason, you'll be connecting to your modem. And this particular server will be connected to one router. R1. Okay. That is connected to a router. And this router is available for everyone through the internet. It is connected to the internet. Okay, you asked about internet. So it is connected to an open network. Sure, Thomas. This session is being recorded. And tomorrow we won't be having a session. That would be next Monday. Please check with the team to confirm the timing. Probably 8 or 9 it will be.
9 is the timing, guys. Today just a session, the demo session we started at 8, but yeah, the original time is 9 p.m.
Yes, okay. Thanks for confirming.
Hello, sir.
So,
Sorry to interrupt, but hello, sir. It's Sadakat
yeah.
here. But
Okay.
when we are enrolling the courses, that time like Neetu was there. Neetu Naritika was there. She told me that the class will be started on 8:30 p.m. only.
Is it?
I think 30 minutes is not a problem. Here and there, it can be adjusted. Don't worry.
Yeah, it will be adjusted, but few people are attending the offices and the works also.
I'll just check because there are multiple batches which is going on. So if in case you're not able to do at 9, you can do it 8:30 also when the batch is coming. Don't worry, I'll do it. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, sure.
Hope the confusion is clear. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
Coming back to this part. So this is our client.
Hello, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Thomas. So
Hi,
I'm
Thomas.
So I just to confusion. Is the classes is a Saturday and Sunday, no?
No, these are weekday sessions. I mean, I'm taking the weekday sessions. So if you enrolled for weekend sessions, you might want to check with someone, our team.
So they inform me it's Saturday and Sunday because I'm not in India. So, okay, I will check with you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure, Thomas. Please check on that. Okay. So yes, back to the session. So the client here wants to connect to the server. Okay. So he will be connecting to his modem, which will be connected to an ISP. It is the service provider, and he'll be having a hell lot of whoever that is, you might want to mute. Okay, thank you. So from that ISP, the connection will be going on to that router 1. And from that router 1, it will be connecting to the server, collecting the data that you requested and bringing it back to the client. So this is basically how the internet works. Okay. So, and the same data, multiple people can access. The only thing is that they'll all be on the URL part. That is this part on the URL, they'll be giving www.google.com. So this is the URL that you're giving, right? So this URL translates to an IP address. So for example of an IP address, let's say 10.12.120.5. So this is an IP address, right? So this, when it reaches our router, from router to the ISP, this will be converted into this IP address. So this is basically the address of the server. And from that, by understanding this IP address, the data will be requested from that particular server. So this translation of this particular value into this particular IP address, that is basically what helps us identify and traverse through the internet. So all the different URLs and everything that you use, basically it's an address. An address of some server which is kept in somewhere in the world. It can be in your own country, it can be in some other countries, etc. For example, if you are searching for Google, instead of google.com, if you are searching for google.co.in, this will convert into a separate IP, but it will be having the same data since we have requested for Google. So this co.in completely changes the address. So instead of 120.5, it can be like 10.12.11.5, something like that. So the address changes, it goes to a different server, and the data from that server will be provided back to the client. I hope you got a basic idea on what this internet and how it works is. So the only thing you have to understand from like, let's say this internet is that whatever website or whatever data that you are getting, all of this are stored somewhere locally. Like someone else is having a server farm, and inside that they have stored all this data, and you are just accessing it using your mobile or your laptop or anything. Okay, so that's your basic idea on internet. I hope we are clear on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as you can see, these are some of the functions of routers. And yeah, we discussed packet forwarding and network address translation. That's what you just saw, converting Google into an IP address. Okay, and then we have routing, which is how we skipped router 4. Skipped more routers and use the routers with the least, use the path with the least routers. So that method is routing. And interconnecting networks, which basically means that you'll be by using a router, you'll be able to connect multiple networks. These networks can be running on switches, it can be running on routers, hubs even, all of them are fine. So these are different devices that we'll be discussing in our upcoming session. Today, I think we'll conclude after finishing on this particular topic. And another thing is subnetting. So subnetting, that is something that you guys have to make a note on if you're planning to write the exam. Subnetting is a very important topic because we'll be discussing how we do the subnetting and all. The basic idea of subnetting is that under one router itself, you will be able to run multiple networks. So that particular method is known as subnetting. So this is basically done by converting IP addresses into multiple sections, which is a kind of a huge topic which we'll be covering later, and also by let's say grouping different systems into a particular VLAN. So all the systems under one particular VLAN will be considered as the one network, and all the systems under another VLAN will be considered as a different network. VLAN is basically virtual LAN, local access network, virtual local access network. So these are some of the important topics that we have to make note of. And out of all this, the main thing you have to know is subnetting. Because when it comes to the exam point of view, you'll be having at least 3 to 4 questions from subnetting itself. So that's a huge topic. And next, firewall. So similar to subnetting, the only difference, not topic-wise, firewall is, when it comes to CCNA, firewall is an important topic that you have to make note of because the whole security part is covered over there. So in simple terms, firewall just acts as a security system for our network. And we have the option to set up different kinds of filters or different kinds of constraints to make sure that a particular set of data is accessible, and also a particular set of data is not accessible, depending upon the user's authentication or access levels. So we by use in a network, we'll be having different levels of users. We'll be having the normal users, then users with more privileges and the admin and all. The admin will be having all kinds of access. He'll be able to make all the changes. So firewall will make sure that nobody is trying to like basically hack into that network. That's why we're using firewall. And then we have gateways. So gateway is again a topic that we'll be covering while we are going through subnetting. So it basically means that when we are dividing a particular set of systems into small groups, when we are requesting it, when we have different set of groups under one router, and we don't accidentally go into the different let's say network. That's basically why we have gateway. If you are requesting a data, we have to go to the right place. So gateway makes sure that nobody is coming inside that particular network unintentionally or for any kinds of malpractice. And then we have DHCP. Again, one of the important topics, but not compared to subnetting or firewall, etc. So DHCP, it basically assigns IP address to the clients and allocate information on the TCP IP configuration. So whenever a new system is connected to a network, it needs an IP address, right? So DHCP is basically
the traveling route for data.
I'm sorry?
It's a traveling route for data.
Also, you're talking about DHCP protocol,
Sir.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So yes, so it's basically a network which is used to like configure network devices to communicate on the IP address. So it for the first thing it does is it provides you with the IP address, and by using this IP address, when we are sending this data, we'll be able to like travel to that particular system. This DHCP, does it actually provide the traveling details and all? It just gives you the address. Once you get the address, everything else is managed by the router. Oh, that part was clear. No worries. Like these are the topics that we'll be having and we'll be doing on our labs. And next we have logging and monitoring. Again, when it comes to implementing a network, logging and monitoring is one of the important parts. Reason being, whenever an issue or a problem comes up, these two are the only thing that's going to help you to resolve it. Logging basically means whatever changes, whatever actions are happening inside that network, it needs to be documented. That particular thing is known as logging. This can be automatically done in XML or JSON files, or you have the option to check our network logs as well. You can set up some kind of third-party tools like NetXMS, etc. for this particular purpose. Same for monitoring. We have like a lot of tools right now, like open source tools, which you can use on almost all devices, Cisco, HP, everything. So by using this, you'll be able to understand if there was a fluctuation of data transfer, or if there was someone trying to access this particular network without authorization. All these things will be recorded and monitored on real time. So router actually helps with this logging and monitoring also. And obviously security. So that's kind of part of firewall. I kind of added that by mistake, sorry about that. So security is again like part of firewall. And then we have load balancing. So load balancing again is a method that let's say basically helps us or helps to manage the network. Let's say if a router has multiple networks under it and some data is being requested from one particular network too much. So what happens is that, and if the other one is completely unused, the router will make sure that some of the load is moved on to the other one. So it basically means that method of distributing this network traffic equally across same kinds of resources. So let's say in the previous example, we explained, right? One data is being sent from A to B, and it was using the shortest path. So that was done because, let's say, the data was very small. If you're sending, let's say, 200 TB of data, and the entire data is sent through the first method, what happens is it takes a lot of time. So to avoid that, half of the, let's say, half of the data is sent through the top through the path with one router, and half of the data is being sent through the path with two routers. So compared to the earlier method, this would be much faster because at the same time we are using two paths to send the data. So it takes basically half of the time. So that particular method is known as load balancing. Okay. Then next we have VPN. So yes, VPN is a virtual private network. So it basically describes the option to establish a protected network connection when using public networks. Okay, it gives you a little bit security when it compares to while directly accessing the internet. So when it's a virtual private network, what happens is that you'll be able to get the data. All the data that you'll be collecting will be encrypted, and it also basically disguises your online identity. Because this is a virtual private network, and if somebody is trying to get your details from the internet, all they'll be seeing is the ID of this VPN. They won't be able to identify who is accessing through this VPN. Okay, so that's virtual private network. I don't think I have to explain VPN too much because pretty sure most of the people might have already used something called proxy, VPN, etc. To access movie sites and everything. And then we have dynamic routing and static routing. So okay, this is something that's mostly done in let's say colleges and maybe in some offices as well. Dynamic routing, definitely most people will be doing. Static routing is something that's done in highly secure areas.
For commercial users.
Sorry?
For commercial users.
Yes, commercial users as well as let's say military users.
Yeah.
Because
Defense.
there we have to make sure that nobody else is coming to access, right? So there also we'll be using static routing. So let's just go on to that. So dynamic routing basically means that what we earlier described on routing. It will just decide which path this data has to choose depending upon the loads or the path distance and everything. So that will be decided by routing. Static routing basically means that a path will be mentioned and this data has to follow that path. Unlike dynamic. In dynamic, we have the option to choose, the router has the option to choose which path it has to take. But in static routing, a user will be programming that router to make sure that this is the only path that this data has to go through. This is because the other option, like the other path, could be compromised, and this path could be encrypted. For example, let's say, yes. Don't worry, I know we have just crossed like 10 minutes over our time, but I'll try to finish it quick. So this is our client A, and this is our client B. These are two systems, and just like A, we have R1 here and R2 R3, R4. So when it comes to dynamic routing, what happens is we'll send the data from client to R1, and R1 will decide whether to go to R2 or R3. So it has the option to decide to go to R2 or R3. And then it will go to B, and data will be stored over there. But in case of static, what happens is inside this R1, the user will already have programmed something. We'll be having an admin. This admin will already have programmed this R1 to make sure that all the data coming to R1 needs to go through R3 and then to R4 and to in such an order. So what happens is that even if A sends small data, it wouldn't even check for R2, it will go directly to R3, then R4, then to the our location, our destination. Data will reach such way. Okay, so that particular method is known as static routing. Yeah, my pad is not working. I'll try to fix it for Monday's session. Sorry about that. So yes, that's basically about static and dynamic routing. And I think we just covered the basics of routers functions. And I can see our time is a bit off. So I'll be stopping my session here. If in case of any doubts for a quick resolution, feel free to ask. Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
What are the explanation you have done all these things? It's over, or it's just a basic things you explained to us?
So these are the basic things of routers.
So you'll be explaining each and everything further, right, on this?
Yeah, that will be coming on our next sessions. I'll definitely make sure to explain more on these routers. I actually had a few more slides, but due to today's time constraint, I have to stop it over here. No worries. And if you want, I can take a bit more on this on the next session.
Sure.
Okay. I haven't even completed the whole router side. Sorry, who's that? Actually getting. Yeah, who is this?
Kevin, this is me.
Yeah, it's in Sharas.
I just want to make sure that